trekking across the universe.
On the Starship Enterprise, under Captain Kirk.
Star trekking across the universe.
Slowly going forward, 'cause we can't find reverse. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, starboard bow. There's Klingons on the starboard bow, starboard bow, yeah.
Captain's Log, Stardate 072716. We've come across a unique civilization that uses podcasts as their primary form of entertainment. Two of their number host a podcast called FilmBookCast, which they describe as the official podcast of FilmBook.com. The one speaking at present is none other than Mike Smith, captain of the USS FilmBookCast, and with him, as always, is his co-host.
Mike DeCriscio.
If you've never listened to FilmBookCast before, essentially they begin by exploring strange new worlds, seeking out new life and new civilizations, and boldly going where no man has gone before.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the gist. That's the basic gist.
We're kind of a big deal, galactically speaking, but...
No, obviously, we're not going to do any of that. We start with some film news, and then move on to some discussions where Mike and I each discuss whatever media we've been consuming lately, and then after that, we move on to our featured review. This week, we're reviewing the new film from director Justin Lin and the 13th film in the Star Trek franchise, Star Trek Beyond. And then, if there's time, we'll boldly go where no man's gone before.
Yeah.
You know.
First, we have to invent interstellar travel.
Right.
But once we do that...
Once we do that, which probably shouldn't take that long, I would say.
Yeah, we could do it before dinner.
Yeah, I would give us like 80 minutes of your time, and I think we can get that covered. But before we get into our interstellar galactic adventures, let's check out some film news.
Hi, it's time for what? It's time for it's time for film news. Hi, it's time for what? It's time for it's time for film news. Film news.
All right, let's get into some film news, and we had a few things to talk about today. Comic-Con's been going on, so we have some tidbits from Comic-Con coming out that we'll talk about in just a little bit. I did want to briefly mention that Shrek 5 is going to be a thing that's happening.
For all you people that were waiting on that listen to this show.
Waiting with bated breath for the sequel to Shrek 4. It's Shrek 5, coming along in 2019 alongside Edgar Wright's Shadows movie that was developing at DreamWorks. We talked about that a little while ago.
Yes, right.
So both of those will be coming out in 2019. I guess DreamWorks is being acquired by Universal. And it seems like Universal's first order of business is to revive DreamWorks' biggest money-making property.
Yeah, why would they not?
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But that's surprising to me, because I remember when Shrek Forever After came out, which was the fourth one, I feel like at that point the franchise was kind of dwindling down, like it wasn't making as much money as it had back in the past.
Right.
But I guess it's still like a hugely recognized name, and it's been a long time, and it will have been a long time by 2019. It will have been 9 years since Shrek 4.
Wow.
8 years since Puss in Boots, which I guess was the last Shrek-related property to come out.
In the Shrek cinematic
the
universe.
Shrek cinematic universe. I'm surprised that hasn't been a thing yet. You know, Shrek and Puss in Boots exist. There could have easily been a donkey movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Donkey of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Donkey won a Shrek story.
There's a Gingerbread Man movie. There's a Mongo movie to be made.
Yeah,
Remember Mongo? Remember Mongo was the giant gingerbread man in Shrek 2? There could have been a King Kong-esque movie.
That would have been amazing.
Mongo.
I would watch that.
And now that DreamWorks is acquired by Universal, it seems like all those movies will happen and more.
Yeah.
With Shrek 5 being the launching point, I'm sure.
Those ones are for free, Universal.
You can contact us for the rest of our ideas. Quickly, Mike, start scribbling down some ideas.
Yeah. Give me a minute.
But yeah, so that's something. I mean, I like Shrek.
Yeah.
I like Shrek 1 and 2 back in the day. Those were fun.
Yeah. That's not mean I don't disagree.
But yeah, it's definitely it's interesting that this franchise, it's the cyclical nature of movie franchises, I guess. Like, they were big for a while, and they disappear for a little while, and they'll come back. And then they'll disappear again, perhaps. But we'll see what happens there. I just wanted to briefly mention that. Here's the latest news in things that are hilarious. The final
Shrek 5 is coming back.
No, in things that are hilarious, the final Divergent movie, Ascendant, will no longer be opening in theaters and will likely be a TV movie, which sets up a spin-off TV series featuring a new and much likely cheaper cast.
Yeah, I would assume.
This is just pathetic, man. This is pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kudos to them for wanting to finish the movies, and, like, sure, why not?
I guess
but
they had one left. This is the last one.
Right. So I guess at least they want to, I get it. You want to do the whole, like, complete the series, and I'm sure there are fans of this series somewhere.
Some poor misguided souls
Yeah,
who are really
exactly.
into Divergent movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I also feel like you don't need to finish the movie series because it's based on a book series. So if you really need to know the answers, you can just
There's a book.
There's a book of it. But also, it seems like these movies have been dwindling at the box office. The last one, I guess, came out this year. I think.
Maybe, I don't even know.
Exactly. Like we're thinking, we have to think about it kind of hard. Allegiant, I think, was its name, and that was the third one, and it made like half of what the previous movie made. And it seems like
Wow.
the trend of young adult movies has been kind of dwindling down over the past few years. The last Hunger Games movie didn't make as much as people thought it was going to make. The
Right.
Maze Runner 3 got delayed significantly, and even then, the Maze Runner 2 didn't make that much money either. So it seems like these movies are finally running their course after after dominating the box office for like the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And this seems like a last ditch attempt for relevancy for the Divergent movies. They've been making less and less money. Legendary is like scrambling to find a way to make them profitable again. Do you think a TV movie is the way to go, Mike?
I guess it seems like the slightly more accessible version of putting it on streaming.
Yeah, I guess that. But it also, they don't have like a network or anything, so it could end up being on Netflix or something.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that this kind of downswing in these movies is kind of a result of the Maze Runner, Hunger Games, and Divergent are like all vaguely the same story, kind of.
Yeah, they're all basically the same.
They're all basically the same. So they had these 3 tentpole franchises to carry the young adult genre, and then they're all just the same movie. So
So everybody got bored of them.
yeah.
No, it's interesting. The idea that they think they're going to make like a spin-off TV series out of this is the most hilarious part to me, because it's like these things aren't popular enough to warrant a movie. Like,
Yeah, so you're gonna put it on TV.
like how is that going to work out? Like, it's
I could see it being like an MTV series, like now that MTV has drama shows apparently, and like maybe an ABC Family show. Like,
ABC Family was one that I heard mentioned a lot. It could be,
or what is it? Freeform now, right?
Freeform is actually what it is now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not ABC Family anymore. But the thing is, they actually done the ABC Family has already done something similar, because there was a movie a couple years ago called The Mortal Instruments: City of Bones.
Yes, I remember that.
And that
Which
movie,
is another one of these kind of.
another one of those young adult movies, and that movie didn't do that well at the box office. But Freeform actually has a TV show now based on that book series,
Really?
which I think acts as a sequel to the movie of some kind, or it's a remake of the movie with new new cast members or something. I don't know.
Right.
But they have a TV series. I don't know if the TV series is aired. I don't know if it is any good. I don't know if it was canceled. It happened.
So you know nothing.
I know nothing except for the fact that it happened,
Okay.
or will happen. My point is that
It's a thing.
my point is that like there's precedent for this kind of thing to be at Freeform or ABC Family or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
And so if Ascendant, the Divergent movie, ends up being anywhere, I could see ABC Family being a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I would agree.
But in any case, it's very sad, is what it is. And I don't think much. If they make this final movie on TV, I don't think the cast will return. They might have to recast the roles.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I didn't realize, I didn't put it together that the most recent one just came out, presumably, or
Right.
it came out recently. I was assuming in my brain that they had finished making it and like they couldn't distribute it anywhere, so they were just going to put it on TV.
No, they actually have to film this movie.
This movie's not even made yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not even made.
No.
So, I mean, I know Shailene Woodley's the star of these movies.
Yeah.
Who is a really great actress who seemed to hitch her wagon to the wrong horse or something with this franchise.
Yeah.
But she used to be on a show on ABC Family. I forget the name of that. But she was in The Descendants. She was in Spectacular Now. She's a good actress.
Yeah. There's actually quite a few people in the
Yeah,
Divergent
Miles
series.
Teller is in these movies.
Yeah.
And so is Jeff Daniels. Kate Winslet was in the first two.
Right.
I think her character died or something. Like, I don't exactly know.
Who knows?
But
I think... oh, no, yeah, you're right.
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think you're thinking of the Hunger Games, but JK, that was Julianne Moore. So this is the point I'm trying to make, Mike.
Exactly. They're all kind of interchangeable movies
Yeah.
that have like a supporting cast filled with respectable actors
Yeah.
that, you know, are doing material that's generally speaking beneath them. And kind of sharing the spotlight with these younger actors who generally aren't nearly as interesting as the older actors. I'm basing this on the Hunger Games, where Jennifer Lawrence is good, but then you have like Josh Hutcherson and the Hemsworth kid.
Hemsworth the Lesser.
Exactly. Hemsworth the Lesser. You know, who I don't care about at all. Like, those two
Right.
characters, they're nothing to me.
Yeah.
When, you know, I would rather be watching Woody Harrelson or Elizabeth Banks or, you know, any of the other established cool actors that they had working on those movies, because they brought a lot of gravitas to those roles.
Right.
But in any case, Divergent 4, Ascendant, not happening in theaters anymore. To anybody who cares. Like,
Yeah.
That's the thing. We spend a lot of time talking about the story. I don't think anybody cares about the Divergent movies.
I don't know.
And that's
yeah.
reflected in the box office receipts. Like, that's why this TV movie is happening.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to the next thing. And San Diego Comic-Con was happening over the last few days, Mike. Did you follow any of the coverage at all?
Not as closely as I have in the past. I'm not sure why that happened, but
Okay. Yeah,
I saw the highlights, you know, the big stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. Like, it's not like I was there, so I couldn't. So it's not like I was at Hall H or something. And generally speaking, like, I know Warner Brothers had their panel, and I think all of their trailers went online. Probably because last year they tried not to have the trailers go online, and then they leaked, and they got very upset about it. So like the Suicide Squad trailer ended up going online, having Superman and stuff. This time around, they actually put the trailers online, and trailers came out online for Wonder Woman, Justice League, and Lego Batman movie. I know that much. And I think Kong Skull Island as well. I'm not sure if the trailer was online for that one yet. I didn't watch. The only trailer of these that I have watched is the Lego Batman movie.
I think you don't need to say anything more, but
It's the only one of those that I have a vested interest in.
right.
Although I am interested in those other movies, but I also don't care enough about them right now because they're very far away.
Yeah.
And I'll probably see those trailers in the theater pretty soon, I would imagine. Like, Wonder Woman's coming out in less than a year. So I would imagine there's something coming on in the theater at some point.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
It won't be long before those show up.
I would Suicide Squad's coming out in 2 weeks. I imagine a Wonder Woman trailer could be before that.
Yeah, especially if it's online, they'll put it out there.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But there was a couple of big things that happened at Comic-Con, and to me, this was the biggest one. And this mirrors the unveiling of 10 Cloverfield Lane that happened a few months ago. Like, 10 Cloverfield Lane, we didn't know it existed until January, and then the movie came out in March. Right? Like, we knew the movie. Like, I knew Dan Trachtenberg was making a movie called Valencia, but nobody knew it was like attached to the Cloverfield universe, and they like made this big unveiling 2 months before the movie came out, and it was crazy. And something similar happened to Comic-Con. Adam Wingard, director of movies like Year Next and The Guest, has been directing this found footage movie called The Woods, which was scheduled to be released this September. And at Comic-Con, they revealed that The Woods is not actually the title of this movie. This movie is actually called Blair Witch. And it is the third Blair Witch movie.
Directed by that reveal was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. he hosted the panel.
Man, that would have been quite something.
That's too somewhere.
Yeah, so not even that. Not even just that. They screened the entire movie at Comic-Con.
What? I didn't hear that part. I didn't know they played the whole movie.
Yes, they played the whole movie. They made the big reveal, and then as soon as they made the reveal, they're like, all right, here's the movie. And everybody's like, wow!
That's awesome.
It's just one of the the really cool things that can happen at Comic-Con. So they screened the entire thing and got a really positive reaction. And I'm very excited about this. I mean, Adam Wingard's Year Next and The Guest are like two of the best horror movies of the last couple of years. And they also have this like kind of like slick sense of humor throughout both of them that I'm very excited about. And this nobody knew that this was going to be a Blair Witch movie, but it apparently has direct ties to the original. It's about like the brother of one of the characters from the original movie who goes into the woods to search for his sister, and bad shit goes down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I'm not even a fan of the Blair Witch Project. I don't like it that much. I watched it once and I thought it was pretty boring for most of its runtime. But I really like Adam Wingard, and I think he can do something really cool with this material. So I'm pretty stoked for it.
It's a pretty bold move, I think. I haven't seen the Blair Witch Project.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know my opinions on found footage, so like I kind of just have no desire, really.
Yes, yeah, I know you're not a fan of found footage. Have you seen Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows?
See the fact that I haven't seen the first one, so no.
Well, that was not a found footage movie, but that one's also terrible.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting that that's what they want to not latch onto, but that they would decide to make it a Blair Witch movie. It's exciting. It's cool, I guess. It kind of revolutionized. I mean, I don't know if it didn't invent found footage. I don't think,
but it was the found footage movie, though. Like,
yeah, it made it popular.
It's the one that revolutionized it, like really introduced it to the mainstream. I don't know if I would say it made it popular, because I feel like there wasn't that many found footage movies after the Blair Witch Project. There wasn't that many copycats. It was really Cloverfield that I felt like.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or at least the modern age of found footage movies.
Yeah,
now we have a bunch of them. But I feel like after Blair Witch, there still wasn't that many. There probably was like a few copycats here and there.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. Like the Blair Witch Project is like this kind of iconic movie. Like everybody knows the Blair Witch Project. It's a thing that like people like know and understand. It's a pop culture touchstone.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm pretty stoked about this. Like Adam Wingard's the best. Have you seen You're Next and The Guest?
No, I haven't seen those, and I feel pretty bad about that.
You should feel bad about that.
I've heard really great things.
They are phenomenal, and I've been meaning to go into like his back catalog of movies because he's directed a few other things as well. He directed a couple segments in the VHS movies. I think he did one in VHS and one in VHS 2. I forget which ones.
That would make sense.
I know you've seen those. I think, or you've seen at least one of them, right?
No, actually, I haven't.
No? Oh man. Okay, never mind then.
I know they're on Netflix, and I'm just lazy.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, those are found footage, so they might test your patience, but
yeah.
But those are very good VHS movies, so definitely check those out if you can.
Yeah,
I know you can tolerate found footage when it's done well.
Right. Yeah. Whenever I can watch a found footage movie and it doesn't just make me think of the found footage Psych episode, then it passes the test. But if all I can think about is all the stupid jokes they make in that show that they do,
it's not passing the test.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, maybe I'll have to just sit down one weekend and just do a catch up on found footage movies.
That'd be quite an experiment. Like, you want me to like just put out a list of like all the like the best found footage movies I can find?
Yeah.
And just have you watch them over the course of one weekend. See how sick you get.
I'll just live tweet it.
Yeah, that'd be something. I mean, you like Cloverfield, right? Like you like the original Cloverfield. That's
yeah, I do like Cloverfield. Yeah, so it can happen.
I remember you talking about Europa Report, right?
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting take on found footage,
right,
where it was kind of like supposed to be security camera archive footage stuff instead of guys running around holding a camera.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. But that's the big Blair Witch news. I'm pretty excited about that. But also the other big news that came out of Comic-Con. Marvel...
Shrek 5 is happening.
Yeah. I love that. That's going to be... I hope you say that from now on. Whenever I like make a big thing about like whatever I'm about to say, you'd be like, Shrek 5!
It's the new Steven Spielberg Doom spinoff.
We need something to replace it.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the big news coming out of Comic-Con. Marvel had their panel, as they do. They don't do it every year anymore. It used to be a yearly event. Now it kind of alternates between D23, because Disney wants their... D23 is Disney's big conference they have every 2 years.
Right.
And they want their studios there instead of at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So
they want to make some money instead of Comic-Con making money.
Exactly. Which, good for them. But
sure. Why not?
But D23 is not happening this year, so Marvel was back at Comic-Con. And they had a lot of stuff going on. They showed off some footage from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which featured Sylvester Stallone.
What?
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone is in the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which is awesome. I'm pretty excited about that. I think he's just like a member of the Nova Corps or something.
Okay.
And then the cast of Black Panther was there. Danai Gurira from The Walking Dead is part of the cast now. She plays Michonne on The Walking Dead.
Right.
There was a bit about Thor 3. Apparently, Taika Waititi shot a short film in the style of What We Do in the Shadows that showed why Thor wasn't in Civil War.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That he was just like living in an apartment or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
right?
Thor getting along with his roommate. And it sounds amazing. It sounds hilarious, and I want to see it immediately. And I hope I'm I hope that comes online in some capacity, but if not, I'm sure it'll be on the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And so there will be that, and then once it's on the Blu-ray, it'll be online. But the big news coming out of this panel, and this was like towards the end, they got everybody out. They got everybody out on the panel, like everybody who was there, to take like this big cast photo of like all the Marvel movies. And then Kevin Feige was like, "Oh wait, hold on, we should really invite the newest member of the Marvel family out here." And the crowd started going nuts. And then they made the official announcement that Brie Larson has been cast as Captain Marvel for the Captain Marvel movie, which is pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I think people have been asking for that. Some people called it a while ago.
Right. It's been rumored for a little while, and there's been a lot of actresses that have been attached to Captain Marvel, like rumored for it. Like Emily Blunt was a big name that was being thrown around. Katie Sackhoff was another one that people talked about a lot.
Right.
Battlestar Galactica. But Brie Larson has been rumored for a little while, and I'm very excited about this because she is awesome. She's a perfect fit for Captain Marvel, I think, and I'm just really excited to see her bandying about in the Marvel Universe. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I haven't seen Room yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what else I've seen what else Brie Larson has been in off the top of my head. Now that I think about it,
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, man. She's
yeah, that's right.
Envy Adams. That's the performance I think about every time I think about Brie Larson. Because it's the first thing I ever saw her in, and she nails it in that movie. And now there are 2 Scott Pilgrim cast members hanging out in the Marvel Universe because Chris Evans is Captain America.
Right.
So Scott Pilgrim versus the World is slowly infiltrating the Marvel Universe, and do you see the online campaign to get Anna Kendrick Squirrel Girl?
No, what?
Anna Kendrick was I think she was promoting Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and she started campaigning to get herself cast as Squirrel Girl in a Marvel movie.
Oh my god!
And so if that's successful, then that's 3 Scott Pilgrim cast members.
Mother of God.
That'll be in the Marvel Universe. So we just need to get Kieran Culkin cast as I don't know, Thor's brother or something. And
I think that's Loki.
That is Loki. Thor's cousin.
There you go.
Thor's gay roommate. She should just be playing Wallace Wells, is what he should be doing.
Yeah, obviously.
And then get Michael Cera in there. If Michael Cera was 10 years younger, he probably would have been a pretty good Spider-Man.
You're not wrong.
But I'm sure he can play Flash Thompson or something.
Somebody.
He can play Harry Osborn. He can play a really nerdy Harry Osborn. Actually, the Spider-Man cast was at the Comic-Con panel as well, and they announced the roles for a lot of them, and they're pretty they're not big roles. However, Tony Revolori, who is the main star of Grand Budapest Hotel, he's in this movie, and he's playing Flash Thompson, who is Peter Parker's bully, which is very interesting casting. I'm very intrigued by this, because it either means a dramatic reinterpretation of Flash Thompson's character, or it's going to mean tall, skinny bully, bullying Peter Parker. We're hey man, what are you doing? Stop being Spider-Man. Stop it.
That's a direct quote.
You heard it here first, folks.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
But yeah, so anyway, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a very cool casting choice. I don't know when we'll see her. I feel like she'll probably show up before Captain Marvel movies, her movie comes out. Just because that's in 2019, I think, and so there's still 3 years of movies before then. I think we'll definitely see her in Avengers: Infinity War. I feel like that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe she'll show up in Thor 3.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be in some post-credits thing somewhere,
right?
And then be in Infinity War 1, whatever that's going to be retitled.
Right.
I haven't announced that yet, right?
I don't think so. No.
So we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will see what happens. All right, so I think that about wraps up film news today, Mike. Let's move on into our discussions.
These are my discussions. Just when I thought I could talk about movies all day, I talked about more, so we're gonna talk about them today. These are my discussions. There is so much to see, you and me, so we're gonna talk about movies for our discussions.
All right, Mike, let's get into our discussions for the day. What do you have to discuss with us on this fine evening?
Well, today I'm talking about Stranger Things, which is a new Netflix original series released, I think, last week.
I thought you were just talking about Strange Things. I misread your text.
Oh, man. Maybe I should have capitalized properly. But it's one of these things, I don't know if it's just I don't have my ear to the ground as much as I should, But it seems like every now and then, like, Netflix will just drop a show, and it's
I had not
and it
heard,
just lights the internet on fire.
I had not heard anything about Stranger Things until about a week before it premiered.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it caught like wildfire. Like everybody that I follow has been watching it. I have not watched it. I've heard things that make me think it might be something up my alley, though. Mike, what did you think of? You've watched the first episode?
Yeah, I've only watched one episode so far, and it is definitely the Mike Smith special. It is Stand By Me, The Goonies, and E.T. mixed in with some X-Files.
Okay. So it's like Super 8? Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's sort of like Super 8, which is like awesome. Super 8 I had a lot of fun. I remember really liking Super 8.
Okay. I liked the first half of Super 8, and I remember it fell apart towards the end. But I did like if it's kind of aping the style of Super 8, then it's probably up my alley. I think I would dig it.
Yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of it's set in the mid '80s or early '80s. There's Dungeons and Dragons is in it, and there's like nerdy middle school kids trying to unravel this mystery in their hometown.
Okay.
And there's weird spooky stuff happening. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed the first episode a lot.
All right, cool. And you're going to keep watching the show, you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's 8 or 10 episodes. I don't remember. But I watched the first episode to do for this and wanted to not record and just keep watching. So.
Fair enough. All right, so that is Stranger Things. It's available on Netflix, and Mike will be watching more. And presumably he'll probably talk about it again when he finishes it.
Yep, because I definitely am going to need lots of discussion things. So,
all right, so that's Stranger Things. And then I had a couple of things I wanted to mention briefly in my discussions as well. First thing, I want to talk about this Harry Potter series of books. Have you guys heard about this?
What?
It's these stories about this like kid who becomes a wizard, and it's like this whole magical world. It's crazy. Hadn't heard anything about this. I don't know anybody that's talking about this at all. But
no, you're the first one to discover it, Mike.
No, obviously, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Have been since I was very little. And I recently started rereading the entire series of books because I was kind of inspired by the upcoming release of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is the play that's opening up in London. I think it opened already, or it's in previews anyway. And I've heard very good things about it, but they are releasing a script version of the book on July 31st. Which I'm going to be getting because there's no way I'm going to London to see a play. Like it's just not going to happen. I don't have the resources to make that happen.
It's not in the cards, Mike.
Yeah, but so to prepare for the upcoming release of The Cursed Child, I figured I would refresh my memory because it's been about 6 years since I've reread these Harry Potter books. I think the last time I read them was before Deathly Hallows Part 1, the movie came out. And I was kind of struck by how quickly I got sucked back into this world. And how effectively these characters and these stories are drawn. Like, I've always been a huge fan, and, like, rereading them, like, I could see why I was so, like, into it when I was a kid, and I'm really into it now. I'm currently halfway through the 5th book, Order of the Phoenix, and they're, like, the amount of just detail and subplots and world building that goes into these books and these characters, and it's not like I'm telling you anything new. But I feel like we should appreciate it. Like this is it's a really kind of remarkable series of books. I'm assuming you've read the Harry Potters, Mike. Like,
plot twist: I have not actually.
Say what?
I know.
So you've read.
This is when I rip off my mask and I'm actually M. Night Shyamalan.
So you haven't read any of these books?
I have actually only read Prisoner of Azkaban.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so the 3rd book.
Okay, that is a really good one.
It was really awesome. I remember really liking it.
Okay.
But then Goblet of Fire came out, and it was like 800 pages or whatever, and 6th grade me was like, nah, or however old I was.
Yeah. I mean, if you, I think you should give them a shot if you had the time. I feel like you might enjoy them. But you watched the movies, right? Have you seen the movies?
Yeah. I'm definitely a fan of the movies and the world, quote unquote, but not as much as literally everyone else is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the movies too. I like the movies a lot, but they do leave out a lot of details, especially in the later books, that I feel like do enhance the world, and they're like almost by necessity. Like those movies are already like 2.5 hours long a piece, and so they're cutting out subplots that aren't necessary to the actual plot of the movie. But you get plots in the books like there's a whole segment in the books about how Hermione is like fighting for the rights of house elves. That is something that's a pretty significant part of her character for like books 4, 5, and 6. That's completely ignored in the movies, and that like delves into a lot. There's a lot of stuff about Fred and George opening up their joke shop and stuff like that, and stuff that's like not crucial to the plot, but it illustrates how these shows how many characters are like deep. Like I could point to like any character in these books and like tell you every detail about them because like because they're so well drawn. There's so many like subplots surrounding them, and so like even though like Lavender Brown is pretty like a one note character, I can tell you that she was Ron's girlfriend in the 6th book, and that she is also a big fan of Professor Trelawney, and she's big into divination and like all this kind of stuff. So in any case, the Harry Potter books, A+.
You should check these undiscovered gems out.
I'm a big fan. So definitely worth reading. And also, speaking of things that everybody already knows, I watched the pilot of Twin Peaks recently, and it was very good.
I forgot this is an audio podcast for all of you listening at home. I facepalmed.
I guess my discussion this week are things that everybody already is aware of.
Things that have been out for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. But unlike Harry Potter, I have never watched Twin Peaks, and I've talked about this in the podcast before, how I've been meaning to watch it, and it was going to be my summer project, and it kind of got delayed by my Harry Potter rereading. But the other night I was hanging out at my house, and I saw Twin Peaks on Netflix, and I was like, you know what? Here we go. And
This is it.
I watched the pilot episode, and I really dug it. There's a lot of oddball humor there that's subdued. It's like subdued oddball humor, though. It's not like in your face, but it's like just kind of like played very dry. It's David Lynchian. It feels a lot like I've seen Blue Velvet, which I love, and it reminds me of that a lot. But the David Lynchian like eccentricities, I feel like aren't that pronounced yet. I feel like this pilot was kind of like it's definitely on the oddball side of things, but I feel like it skews mainstream enough where I could sort of see why people got into this. Like based on this first episode, and I feel like it kind of like slowly introduces people into this world, so that when the weird shit does happen, they're not put off by it.
You're already there. Yeah, there is definitely that, and the pilot feels sort of like an odd barrier to entry for a lot of people, I think, because it's an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So if you're not prepared for that, it could be pretty daunting, I think.
Yeah, and I was prepared for that. It's just the hour and a half long thing. It was like, I can't find time to watch this. Like, it took me some time. But I'm glad I watched it. I really dug it. All the characters are people that I feel like I'm already interested in, which is a good sign. And Kyle MacLachlan as Agent Cooper is a darn treasure. I love him.
Oh, my God. It's out of control.
He's the best. And he doesn't even show up for the first half hour of the show.
Yeah, that's the best part.
And so I was surprised at how interested I was in the goings-on or like in the town before he shows up. Like I was like pretty into it. And I'm really excited by like all the different story threads that are going on, and I'm really into it. So I'll be watching more. Maybe I'll throw Twin Peaks into my discussions periodically as I keep watching, so the folks at home can play along.
There you go.
But in any case, Twin Peaks pilot, good stuff.
Wait, what was the title of that book series again, in case anyone didn't get it, Mike?
That was the Harry Potter book series by J.K. Rowling.
Got it.
Spelled R-O-W-L-I-N-G. Look it up at your local library. They might have it.
They might. You could ask them to pick it up for you.
All right, so that's the end of our discussions today. Let's get into our featured review, Mike. This week we are reviewing Star Trek Beyond.
Shrek Files. It's so much fun. Play the bumper. Is that music?
It's a good choice.
Hi, well played.
We got no ship. No crew. How are we gonna get out of this one?
We will find hope in the impossible.
Well, at least I won't die alone. Well, that's just typical.
All right, that was from the trailer for Star Trek Beyond, the new film from director Justin Lin, written by Simon Pegg and Doug Jung. It stars Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Carl Urban, Zoe Saldana, Simon Pegg, Anton Yelchin, Idris Elba, and Sofia Boutella, among others. The IMDb plot synopsis of this movie is: the USS Enterprise crew explores the furthest reaches of uncharted space, where they encounter a new, ruthless enemy who puts them and everything the Federation stands for to the test.
Whoa.
So I'll say this. I'm not the biggest Star Trek guy. I like Star Trek a lot. but my knowledge of the 50-year franchise is like pretty woefully ignorant. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of episodes of the original series out of order. Like I haven't watched them in any particular order. And I'm pretty sure I've seen Wrath of Khan, and I've seen both of the J.J. Abrams movies, and that's about it for me. And while I respect and I may even love aspects of what I've seen, I just never dug further into the franchise because, frankly, I just don't have the time.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting to think of. Like,
but I know you're a big fan of Next Generation, right, Mike?
yeah, that's the series I have the most affinity for. I haven't watched all of it or many of it in a row, kind of like with the just kind of watch 4 or 5 episodes here and there, you know. So I'm kind of in a similar boat with you, where I probably should know more about it, but I don't really.
Right. I mean, I know a lot through pop culture osmosis, and I know all the original series characters, and like I've seen the original series enough where like I have an attachment to them, and I really enjoyed Star Trek 2009. That's like my main entry point into this franchise is that first J.J. Abrams movie, which is a very fun blockbustery sci-fi action movie. But it's basically a Star Wars film with Vulcans. Like,
yes, you're not wrong.
Like, it's basically a Star Wars movie. And then Star Trek Into Darkness, I kind of left that theater with mostly kind of a shrug when I saw it. Like, I was, after the first one opened up, like, it opened up this new timeline to all sorts of new possibilities. And it seemed like kind of a missed opportunity to just do Wrath of Khan again, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he could have done something new, something interesting, something bold. Now, Abrams has left the franchise to go make the movie he always wanted to make in the first place. Right, and then
a space movie with droids.
Right, exactly. And then this movie's going to be directed by Roberto Orci, who co-wrote the previous 2 films with Alex Kurtzman. But twist, pull off the M. Night Shyamalan mask.
There it is.
Orci was kicked out and was replaced as director by Justin Lin of the Fast and Furious franchise, and replaced as a writer by Simon Pegg and Doug Young. And I thought that was pretty exciting. That's pretty cool. I thought New Blood could do this franchise some good. And Pegg was well known as a diehard Trek fan, and he's been playing Scotty in these movies. And he's a pretty great writer, too. He co-writes his movies with Edgar Wright, like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. And so I figured he'd be able to bring the franchise back to its roots, while Justin Lin could deliver on the bombastic action that made the Fast and Furious movies popular.
Right.
So I think in that regard, Star Trek Beyond mostly succeeds.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
It is a high budget episode of Star Trek.
Right, exactly. And I feel like this is a weird case where that success in that regard is also kind of a drawback to me, just because I feel like there's not that much to hang a movie around here.
Yeah.
I've seen a few people say that Star Trek Beyond is like a 2-part episode of the original series, and I agree with that, and I kind of appreciate that, and I think that's a selling point to a lot of Trek fans who were disappointed with the Abrams movies, because I've seen a lot of people complain that that's not like true Trek. But to me, it didn't really feel like it had enough to hang a movie off of. But I do like that this is basically a pretty standalone story with like no knowledge of previous films necessary.
Yeah.
And there's no obvious setup for sequels either.
I do appreciate kind of what you're saying. It's a standalone movie. It is fairly small scale for the first 2 acts, at least.
Yeah. Comparatively speaking, especially like compared to the last 2 movies.
Yeah, it ramps up. The stakes ramp up pretty high at the end there.
Yeah.
However, it was a lot of fun. Like, to it's kind of just like a rescue mission for an hour and a half, and then a half hour of some other crazy shit. But it was still cool. Like, I was really into the story, and it's a kind of thing that I've talked about before, like with Ant-Man and stuff, where these big blockbuster action films deal with like a pretty small scale situation, and for some reason that putting those 2 things together equals Mike enjoys that a lot. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I did have a lot of fun watching this movie. I think a lot of that is the cast, which has always worked really well together. That was like the best part about the Abrams movies. That these actors in these roles work very well together. But I think the movie does feel kind of slight to me. Like, it never really figured out what it wanted to be about, besides, like, in general, like an optimistic glimpse of the future. And that optimism is what kind of sets Star Trek Beyond apart this summer. In, like, an age where we have our superheroes fighting each other, and we're recruiting bad guys to save the world.
Right.
This feels like a throwback in a lot of ways to, like, a 1960s mentality of the future. In a time where we just might need it the most, perhaps.
No, I would agree. It's a glimmer of Roddenberry hope in a Snyder world.
Yes. The Snyderverse.
The Snyderverse.
Zack
We're in the
Snyder's
darkest
universe, and we're just living it.
We're on the darkest timeline. We're on the Snyderiest timeline.
The Snyderiest.
I tried.
Yeah. I also do think Idris Elba's Crawl is kind of a weak villain.
Yeah.
And he's given very little to do, and he kind of recalls Oscar Isaac's performance in X-Men Apocalypse for me. For at least a little while. He does have more going on than Oscar Isaac's character did. Oscar Isaac's character had literally nothing going on. So
I feel like the third act kind of undoes a little bit of the stuff that I enjoyed for the majority of the film. But that said, I still had a ton of fun watching this, which really is kind of all I can ask for from a Star Trek July whatever release.
Absolutely, yeah. And I do, regarding Crawl, I do think there was a character detail surrounding him that I think would have served a lot better if it had been given more time to develop. Like if it had been revealed like halfway through the movie instead of like almost towards the end. We'll save that for spoilers, but I did want to mention that briefly. But still, the ensemble gels incredibly well, and the film divides them into pairs for a lot of its runtime, which works really well for a couple of them, like Spock and Bones. Like they're awesome to watch together.
I just want to kiss Carl Urban in his beautiful face. He is so much fun to watch in this movie.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's always been like a highlight to me. But it also doesn't work for others. Like I feel like Uhura and Sulu are very underwritten.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that.
And Uhura in particular is given like virtually nothing to do, and like Sulu is sketched out a little bit. We talked in the last episode about how Sulu was gay in this movie, which is basically not even a detail. Like it's not. It's the background of a scene.
I had heard that there was a kiss apparently that was supposed to happen when that scene happens. That they edited out, so it's just a hug.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Apparently,
was that because of George Takei's complaints? Or?
That's kind of the rumor I saw online, that there was apparently in the first whatever.
Okay. I think it worked fine here. Like it's fine. It's like a background detail almost. Like it doesn't really feel like it doesn't impact the movie in any way whatsoever.
Not at all. Yeah, which is character. I guess cool. That's
yeah, I think that's definitely the idea. I did love the new character Jayla, who the crew encounter on the planet, played by Sofia Boutella, who was Gazelle from Kingsman.
Wow.
She's a delight. Like she's like super capable. She's tough, visually very interesting to look at.
Yeah,
and easily holds her own against everyone else in this cast. And my hope is that they somehow work her into future films.
I get the feeling that that's where that's going.
It seemed like that was kind of the idea, and I feel like I have like there's definitely an easy way to do it that I'll talk about in spoilers. And then also Justin Lin's direction, very good. There are actually a lot of scenes I think that echo some of the heist sequences in Fast 5.
Yeah, I mean they directly reference the moment when Paul Walker jumps off the back of his car as it goes over the cliff. When Scotty comes out of his escape pod thing, and he does the exact same thing.
Okay, true. However, I'm pretty sure that moment happened in Furious 7, which was the James Wan joint, and not a Justin Lin joint.
I think you're right. You're probably right.
So it might have just been another thing.
That's fine.
But also, like the big space battle towards the end of this movie, and is quite possibly my favorite moment of any of these three rebooted Trek movies. Like it's just so fun to watch, and it's so bombastic. And we'll talk about why in spoilers. But it's just really cool. It's really, really cool. And there's a phenomenal callback to the first film as well. Yeah. I do think Star Trek 2009 is a better movie, but this one feels more like Star Trek as I've come to understand it.
Right.
It feels more like an original episode of it. Like people keep saying, it feels like an episode of the TV series, and it does. It feels like a 2-part episode or something. Something that I could put on lazily on Netflix one day and be pretty entertained. And I do think it's much better than Star Trek Into Darkness.
It's been a while since I've seen Into Darkness, or the first one, honestly. But I think I remember, or I had more fun in this Star Trek Beyond than I remember having in
either
the other two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and plus, part of what I like about this one a lot is that it's doing something new with it. Like, whereas Into Darkness was this retread of Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
This one actually, takes them to a new world, shows them new territory, have new aliens and stuff
like that. Go to uncharted space.
Which is boldly going where no movie in the franchise has gone before. So.
Yeah, exactly. They say it right at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I was watching, I was making dinner one night, and Star Trek Into Darkness was on TV last week because obviously they're promoting this movie,
right.
So it was airing on FX, and I watched 15 minutes of it, and in 15-minute bursts, it's pretty good. Because again, the cast is so much fun to just watch.
What glowing review, Mike?
the thing is, like, I was watching it, and I was having a lot of fun watching it, like seeing the characters and stuff, and the banter back and forth. And I was like, oh, why did I hate this movie? I mean, I didn't even hate it, but like, why did I walk out of this movie feeling not satisfied? And then there's a scene with Khan, and I was like, oh, that's
right.
That's why. And then right after that, there was a scene with Alice Eve, and I was like, oh yeah,
right, yeah,
her character, that was boring. And I was like, yeah, there it is. So there's none of that in this movie. I think this movie is pretty pleasant throughout. It's very fun, and I very much enjoyed this. So
there you
go. Mike, you should be getting to spoilers.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into spoilers for Star Trek Beyond, starting right now.
Stop it! Both of you! You're spoiling it! You're spoiling everything!
All right, let's get into spoilers for Star Trek Beyond, starting right now. Listen to all of y'all, it's a sabotage! Sabotage, motherfuckers!
Pretty much. That should have been the tagline for the movie.
It should have been. That's the best scene of the movie. Basically what happens is the big finale, not even the finale, it's not the final battle scene, but it's the big epic space sequence that this movie has to offer. It's this great action sequence with a great callback to the first film, where they have to destroy the ship using the power of rock or something.
But put Technobabble in that, and you've got it.
Exactly. There's this boombox that exists on the this downed spaceship that was on the planet that Sofia Boutella's character was living in, and she enjoys the music. And earlier in the movie, she's listening to "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy, and it's like, hey, it's great that "Fight the Power" still exists 500 years into the future.
Yeah.
And so she's listening to it, and then there's a thing where they need some kind of beats in order to destroy the ships or whatever.
They realize that the ships have some kind of hive mind that radio can destroy.
Yeah. And
why not?
As I'm saying it sounds very dumb, but
it does sound really stupid.
But it's sort of is, but it's the kind of perfect kind of dumb that Justin Lin brought to the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where it's we can just drag a gigantic safe through the middle of Brazil. That's fine.
Yeah, we could have a car chase with towing a safe. It's fine.
And there's a lot of that in this movie, I think. There's that scene where they have where they're trying to restart the USS Franklin,
right?
And they have to get it flying, and they go down a cliff, and it's a whole bunch of Technobabble. And did you just coin Technobabble, by the way?
I did not. I will take credit for it, but I did not do it.
Because I had not heard that before. That's pretty good. And they're just rolling down the cliff, and it's the whole action scene, and it's hang on to something. Which was in every trailer and made it look like the most generic movie of all time. It's hang on to something.
They basically start this starship like you would a stick shift that won't start. just roll it downhill and pop the clutch, and you got it.
Yeah, but it was so cool.
It's pretty awesome, yeah.
But in any case, there's the big space sequence where they have the boombox out there, and it starts playing "Sabotage" by the Beastie Boys, which was, of course, in the Star Trek 2009, and there was a Beastie Boys song in Star Trek Into Darkness as well. It's one of my favorite details about these rebooted Trek movies, is that the Beastie Boys music is still very prominent in this universe.
Yeah.
And it's epic. It's Beastie Boys Sabotage destroying spaceships with its sound.
Yeah, it's exactly what happens.
And it's crazy. And I'm just psyched that people still listen to the Beastie Boys in that time. And that fucking smirk on Chris Pine's face when that song starts playing, it's yeah, this is a good choice.
He just knows that 500 years into the future, he has his right to party. Mike.
Yes. However, this poses a lot of questions because I was talking about this with you off the air, and
yes,
Beastie Boys have a song called Intergalactic.
Right.
And that song refers to Mr. Spock. So how can the Beastie Boys music exist in this universe and yet still have the Mr. Spock reference in Intergalactic? Unless Intergalactic doesn't exist in this universe, which would be kind of disappointment. That's a really good song.
It is a really great song. Although we do know Spock can time travel.
We do know Spock can time travel. Sort of. I mean, he only time traveled the one time.
That we know of. Oh, shit. So you think Spock Prime, Leonard Nimoy Spock, Ambassador Spock,
time traveled back to the 1990s to when the Beastie Boys wrote Intergalactic, met them, taught them the Vulcan neck pinch, because that's what the song refers to.
Right.
And then they wrote that into the song, and then 500 years later, Kirk who is well versed in the Beastie Boys music, never
Right.
picked up on it.
Never got it. Yeah. That's exactly what I think, Mike.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you were on the same page as me.
We need a short film about what Spock was doing in 1986 or whatever.
Intergalactic was 98.
Whatever.
But in any case, so there's that. We had that going for us. It's good to know that Public Enemy is still fighting the power of 500 years.
Yeah.
into the future.
Never give up the fight, Mike.
But speaking of Spock Prime, Ambassador Spock, I did not expect this movie to work Leonard Nimoy's death into the film's narrative.
No, yeah, I wasn't ready for that either. And it's like a pretty big plot point.
Yeah, it's
like,
a pretty significant part of Spock's character in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought it helped inform his headspace quite a bit. And I thought that was mostly very well done, although I thought the ending, where he gazes reverently upon a photo of the original cast, was
which was bizarre.
It was a little much. I thought.
Yeah.
But I sort of get, it was sort of an ode to Leonard Nimoy, obviously, but it was also an ode to this being the 50th anniversary of Star Trek.
Right.
Which this movie kind of serves as, like, the 50th anniversary movie. And I don't think it does that for most of its runtime, but then towards the end it kind of has, like, bits like, oh, yeah, this is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, everybody.
Yeah, let's all stand at this window and look and smile.
Yeah, let's gaze reverently at the new Enterprise that's being built. And then it has the classic Star Trek monologue read by every member of the new cast.
Yeah.
And then it ends with in love and memory of Leonard Nimoy, and then for Anton, because Anthony Yelchin died just a month ago, which is very sad.
Yeah. I did think that was actually pretty touching. The whole time lapse of them of the Enterprise being built with the old school, with the original theme and all that.
Yes, yeah, I thought it was very.
I did like that.
Yeah, that was very effective. Although I gotta wonder, how many fucking times do we have to watch the Enterprise get destroyed in these movies? Like
Forever.
I feel like when you watch the TV show, kind of the idea is like it makes you want to be a part of the Enterprise crew.
Right.
But I feel like if you're watching these movies, you don't want to do that because you'll die.
Everyone is a red shirt.
Literally everyone. If your name isn't Kirk, Spock, Uhura, or any of the other main characters, you're expendable. You're gonna die.
Game over.
Like there was probably like thousands of people on the Enterprise, and by the end of the movie, when they're saving like the prisoners that were captured, there's probably like 50. Like
Maybe, yeah.
Like a lot of people died, and that kind of like gets swept under the rug. Like, goes kind of unnoticed, and
Right.
it definitely was destroyed into darkness as well. I'm pretty sure towards the end, like it kind of crash lands.
Right.
And I think Star Trek 09, I'm not sure if it got destroyed, but it got pretty badly damaged.
It came close.
And there was at least one starship that got destroyed in the first movie because Chris Hemsworth's ship blows up. Although speaking of Chris Hemsworth's role, I did like that Kirk's father was kind of weaved into this movie as like kind of haunting Kirk. Like Kirk's daddy issues are kind of part of his character in this movie, and it's kind of informing where he's at right now. And I think it also kind of effectively, very subtly, sets up the Star Trek 4 they're talking about if that movie is to happen.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was done pretty well. So there are hints and teases of possible sequels, but it's not like
it's not inorganic to the narrative. It feels
exactly.
very part of it. And they've talked about like recently in like the past couple of weeks they talked about Star Trek 4 bringing Chris Hemsworth back and doing like this big time paradox or whatever to get both Kirks together. And so we'll see if that happens. It sounds really good. Like that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But I don't think this movie did too well at the box office during its opening weekend. So we'll see what happens. But I would very much like for this franchise to continue. Although I feel like people are more excited for Brian Fuller's Star Trek series now than they are for more movie Star Treks.
Yeah. I mean, I'll watch the first episode because that's going to be on air or for free or something.
Right, and then from there we'll probably see what happens.
And then it'll have to be on the CBS thing or whatever.
All access, yeah.
Yeah. So like 10 people will see it, probably.
Yes. So I do want to talk about Idris Elba's crawl a little bit more.
Oh, right.
Turns out he's actually Balthazar Edison. It's my best Idris Elba impression. Who is a former Starfleet captain whose ship crash landed there. That's the USS Franklin that Jayla has been using as a house. They end up jump-starting with a lawnmower. It goes for kind of emotional moments towards this reveal, towards the end. But I don't think it really pulls it off because we still don't know that much about Balthazar. And this is information that we just learned.
Yeah.
And it's trying to like make us feel for him. And if we had found this out maybe like halfway through the movie and then learn more about him from there, I think he might have made like a really great villain. Like that could have easily been something for Uhura to do. like while
Yeah.
she was captured with Grawl, like learn more about Balthazar. That could've
and
been
spending a
cool.
lot of time talking to him, apparently.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like those scenes are kind of wasted because of that.
Yeah.
But
She's relegated to being the bad guy's going to monologue at you and tell us the plan.
right,
That's
also,
her whole role.
Also, your boyfriend is tracking you with.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Which was a very funny scene. But like her entire role in this movie is to wear a necklace so that Spock can find her later.
Yes. Yep.
But anyway, and yeah, there are some great action scenes in this movie, though. One of my favorites is a million Kirks riding on motorcycles,
Yeah, that was pretty badass.
which is, I think, a very creative visual, and was set up very nicely with Jayla's use of her like multiplying weapon or whatever earlier.
Yeah.
The great ending space battle, the big scene with the Franklin falling off the cliff, and also Kirk versus Krall in their flying battle of the stars,
Yeah.
where Kirk basically is flying throughout it.
It's a gravitational slipstream.
Yeah, so whatever nonsense words.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank God we invented that oxygen machine.
I will say there are a couple of lackluster action scenes, especially towards the opening. I thought the opening space battle, in which the Enterprise is destroyed again, is pretty iffy, kind of incoherent, and made me kind of worried about the rest of the movie. Like, I felt like it didn't have a great sense of space, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, it had a sense of space because like it's in space, but it didn't have a sense of like where the characters were. So it kind of made me worried a little bit about the rest of the movie, but it picked up from there. But overall, I really dug it. But I will say Anton Yelchin's death means there is an opening on the crew.
Right.
One that I hope is filled by Jayla.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I feel like that's an easy way to get her into the movies, and it's like they've said they're not going to recast Chekhov. He'll just be transferred somewhere else or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I think if there's a Star Trek 4, which I think there should be, Jayla is I think the obvious pick because they send her off to Starfleet Academy at the end of this movie.
At the end of the movie, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to get some weird ass aliens in the main cast.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like,
there's Vulcans, but that's just
there's a half Vulcan.
well, yeah, that's just a weird eyebrowed human. Like,
Yeah, basically with some weird ears.
yeah,
The rest of them are all humans, and so yeah, it would be cool if there's like some like visually interesting creature that is part of the main cast. Somebody who's as cool as J-Lo, who I thought was like easily a highlight of this movie as well.
absolutely, yeah, she's real awesome.
Yeah. So, Mike, do you have any other thoughts about Star Trek Beyond before we wrap this up?
Not really. I think we kind of said everything. I had a blast watching this movie, even though there are some issues and it doesn't do anything, revolutionary or anything like that. But it is a fun Star Trek movie episode
It's a
thing.
very, very solid Star Trek movie. I think like hardcore Star Trek fans seem like they'd be very pleased with this movie, like because it's very reverential towards the old stuff, but it's also blazing its own trail, and it feels like an old Star Trek episode, which is I think what people wanted out of this. That said, I do think I like the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek more, but if this is better than Into Darkness, I know this is your favorite of the three, though.
Yeah, I think having not seen 2009 and Into Darkness in a few years, I would say I can say that.
Okay.
Maybe I'll have to revisit them, and I could
Fair enough. I mean, I haven't seen 2009 in a few years either. So.
give an update.
But all right, that sounds good. So we're both fans. Star Trek Beyond,
Yes.
Go check it out if you can. Mike, where can we find you online this week?
Find me at twitter.com/mdfilmblog, and if you like Dungeons & Dragons, my friends and I stream our games at twitch.tv/geonerd79.
And you can find me online at twitter.com/msmithfilmblog, letterboxd at Mike Smith Film, and all of our work at FilmBook.com. Thank you for listening to FilmBookCast. I'm Mike Smith. That's Mike DeCriscio. If you're listening to this review via our podcast on iTunes, please subscribe to the podcast, rate it, take a moment to give us a review. Any and all feedback, compliments, topic discussions, and even hate mail can be sent directly to podcast@FilmBook.com. Please list the podcast you're emailing about in the title of your email because we produce so many different ones, hard to keep track. We would love to hear from you. Join us in 2 weeks. We'll be discussing Suicide Squad, probably, right, Mike? I feel like that would be the one to do.
Yeah, why would we not?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can also talk Jason Bourne if we see it.
Right.
But I'm hearing mixed things. I'm hearing not great things about Jason Bourne, which is kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
But also, I was never a huge Bourne fan, mostly because Paul Greengrass's style did nothing for me in those movies.
Yeah.
But I do like the first one a lot, Bourne Identity. Bourne 2 and 3, I remember thinking, we're like, I can see why people like these, but also, And then Bourne Legacy.
I'd like to be able to see what's in frame.
Basically. And then Bourne Legacy was
It's other thing.
It's other thing. Did you ever see The Bourne Legacy?
Yeah.
Did you get those chems?
I got
the chems.
blues and reds, probably.
That's the only contribution The Bourne Legacy has ever made to society is chems jokes.
Yeah.
Jokes about chems. He's got to have his chems. Incidentally, like every time I see the trailer for Jason Bourne, I laugh every time because of the way the one guy like sees Jason Bourne on the screen and he says like in like a hushed voice, like, "My God, that's Jason Bourne." I don't know why I think that's funny, but I do. In any case, we'll probably be reviewing Suicide Squad, but if we see Jason Bourne, we'll probably talk about that too. But then join us next week for the complete works, and we'll be talking It Could Happen to You, which could mean anything. That could be a horror movie. That could be an erotic thriller.
Or both.
Maybe. Erotic horror movie.
It's a horrific erotic thriller.
It's... Yeah, that's quite a combination. I'm not sure if I want to watch this now. But thank you guys so much for listening. We are out.
You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics. Laws of physics. You cannot change the laws of physics. Laws of physics, Jim.
Oh, we gonna beat shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. We gonna beat shoot to kill. Scotty, beat me up.
It's worse than that. He's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. It's worse than that. He's dead, Jim. Dead, Jim. Dead.
Well, it's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it. Not as we know it. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. Not as we know it, Captain.